So we often, as coaches, focus when we're coaching our kids. We often talk to them and tell them why they shouldn't do certain things. As we're in the middle of practice or whatever realm we're in with them. We'll be teaching obviously something that falls under the auspices of coaching, and we'll say, no, 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 you shouldn't do it that way. You need to do it this way, whatever it might be. And this is a big part of coaching that we constantly are correcting and showing what they shouldn't do. Okay, and we talk about why they shouldn't do that. All right, don't do that because whatever it might be. But one of the things that I failed to do for a good portion of my career early on is focus more on the why they should do what we would like them to do, and focusing on our why as a program, focusing on our why as coaches and on their why as players. Okay. And I don't mean that in the large, well, for the coaches, I do, in the large concept of what is your why, which is a very important thing to figure out as a coach, why you do what you do, because your why is such a critical component to the growth and development and success that you'll have. In fact, I always talk about Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. This is an excellent book on the concept of why the idea of starting with your why, as opposed to your what's and your how's, is so critical to you becoming the best you're capable of becoming. Okay, so the concept of starting with our why is great. So for us, we're talking about kind of the big things. Why do you do what you do as a coach? And then in your program, your why is going to be important, and you're going to create your core covenants and your values and your standards for your team based on what your why is and what you as a team and a program determine your why is. But when we're coaching our kids, it's also important that we help them figure out the why for doing what they're doing and what you're wanting them to do. Again, when we focus on the why not, right? That's important. We need to do that. But there's a negative. We got the word not in it. It's a negative in there, right? As opposed to here's why you should do what we're talking about, or here's why you should do this next thing, or here's why you should do it in this way. Now, you can't do this with everything that you're teaching your kids. It's just there's too much, right? It would take too long. But when you focus on the why for some of the biggies, it will help empower them. They will see the value behind what you're asking them to do. So often, we just tell them, here's the why, because I said so. That's why. My gosh, how many of us have said that in our time as a coach? Or how many of us have had a coach say that during our time as a player? Not even in response to the question, but just I'm my way or the highway, right? Almost like my why or the highway. But the concept is, we see this all the time with coaches, do it because I've said to do it, as opposed to, no, let me explain to you why it's so important to behave in this way or do this move this way or whatever it might be. And sometimes when you do that, you're also showing why not. Okay, when you do it this way, here's what happens. Boom, 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 the success that you have. If you don't do it that way, here's what could happen. It's good to balance those, sure, but we often don't give the why. And so when we do, we empower them, but we also help them learn the value of what they're doing so that when things are struggling, when we're having struggles or they're having struggles with certain moves or whatever the situation is, they can go back to, here's why I've been told it will work if I do it this way. It will help them persevere through the tougher times. We're all going to have tough times. And so if you don't have a why, that's what this Start With Why book talks about as well. If you don't have a why, when the tough times come, you're like, okay, well, let me try something else. No, your why is your is your kind of your guiding principle, your North Star that says, here's why I do this. That's why I'm going to persevere and fight through and keep going, because it is such an important thing in my life or in our program or in whatever realm you're talking about. So the concept of why, right, is extremely important for us as coaches, teachers, parents, leaders, but it's important for us to pass that on to our kids. It also, when you do this, they see you as believing in them. That, wow, okay, he, she felt I am valuable enough to give me more than just do this because I said so. And they're entrusting me with an understanding as to why I would want to do that. And again, that helps empower them. So I love this concept of giving your players the why for what they're doing and what you want them to do, to help them feel that empowerment, but also to help them persevere through the tough times. It also helps with their own passion. Oh, wow, I get it. This is really cool. I get why we're doing what we're doing. And so it adds to the overall effect and feel of the entire experience. All right. So consider that concept as you continue with your kids, the whys, the why nots. I just mentioned the concept of believing in them, showing a little bit stronger belief in them. I'm going to come back next time and talk a little bit more about the power and the importance of us believing in our kids, especially before they believe in themselves. We'll talk to you again next time.